Alright, I've got another unique one, this time a Thermax AF2. I've never had one of these machines, I've never even seen one before, but I thought, the price isn't horrible, so why don't we pick it up and see what it's about. And this machine to me seems like it's just kind of a mishmash of things put together, not haphazardly, but it just doesn't seem quite as well constructed as like the AF1s. Now it's clearly a lot smaller than an AF1 because it does not have a freshwater tank on it. That is something you actually I'm not even sure where it holds on to this. I just know it's an external tank that like sits somewhere on this machine. But when I got it, the cord winder wasn't working, and the seller had told me that. And when I got it, I found that the wires were actually taped together with packaging tape, and I was just kind of like, "Whoa, that's not how it came from the factory, obviously. There's no way any company would even consider doing that." So I messaged the seller and she said her husband had worked on it a while ago, and I'm like, I would be careful about selling anything your husband is serviced just looking at that, because that's potentially hazardous. But the cord winder on this doesn't really work. It's like I thought I fixed it, but when I put the motor housing back into place, there's not enough space in here for it to rotate. It just didn't go back together well. So it's like I actually have to get under here and like push it back in. I mean, it works fine when I have the motor out of here, but I don't know. Like I said, this just doesn't seem all that well constructed to me. And it had some various issues to it, and this whole motor assembly back here, it has a peripheral bypass motor in here, acoustic series, quite similar to what's in the AF1, and you probably won't be able to see it, but oh, maybe you can. You see this metal band around here? That is a very large, like one of those, I've heard them referred to as airplane style clamps. They have the little screw on them. They're made of that like metal band, and then it's got a bunch of cuts in it that allows the screw to like twist and hold it. I thought that was something put on there by someone, maybe her husband or whatever, but no, that actually appears to be stock. And I was just kind of like, wow, that seems so chintzy. And then I could have sworn the seller sent me a because there's supposed to be an electrostatic filter that would be held in with this, and then you have these foam filters, as kind of your pre-filter for it. But I cannot for the life of me find the filter, that white one that was, that I thought she had included, so I'm just going to be running it with this foam filter. I also don't quite know how this goes together either. And it was missing this seal up here, so it was really getting some really lousy numbers when I first got it. But just like the AF1, this is a water filtration machine. Power nozzle port in the front, 2 caster wheels, and then 2 larger wheels on the back side. And here we have the water tank. And just like the AF1, it is a non-separator system. Now, I didn't know this initially, but all of these parts lift out of here. So we have a little float valve, and that just clips into there. And this is the water filtration chamber. And then, of course, this little tube down here is removable too if you're, using it for wet pickup. But kind of like the AF1, what it does, it uses these bottom vents to draw water into it, and then it ejects the water and air mixture out of the top ones. And then it's shaped like that so it ejects it forward, and with this with these in here, it creates, you know, a series of baffles to not allow that, you know, outflowing mixture to get into the, you know, to get into that valve. And then, of course, it's got a cutout on the bottom of there, and there's some holes there and there to allow the water to, like, recirculate through this thing. It's quite interesting. Quite interesting indeed. And then, just like the AF1, we have a problem here. And I think what I'm going to do for this is, they seem quite similar to Plastiflex style hoses, so I might be able to use like the end from a central vac hose and you know, be able to mount that onto here, put a new pigtail onto it, because I'm not spending $150 or whatever for a new hose for a machine that I'm hardly going to use. It's just, I don't know, it seems to be a weak point, and I kind of feel like, you know, maybe with the AF2 that should have been addressed to make this a little bit easier to change out, since it seems to be a recurring problem. You know, I've had 2 machines from Thermax, and both of them have that issue. But, oh, right. The one other thing, I just wanted to note this about the machine. I'm actually not sure which head I'm going to use to test it. This is not the stock nozzle, but this is what I intend to use with it. And I'm sure you can see why. The seller did have the power nozzle, the original one, but it was cracked. I can't remember where it was cracked, and it's like, I'm not spending more money for a broken nozzle. So I happened to come across this one. I'm like, you know what? This is a close enough match, and it's got a headlight on it. So why don't we just go with this one? Because, I mean, it's not a bad color match for it. And then this is a 3D printed adapter my friend Josh made for me, which I still have to drill out a hole for the button lock on a standard wand, but, you know, it's whatever. I actually thought I was going to purchase a new neck and then just put this on, you know, put a Thermax neck onto here, but it turns out that's not even possible, because this adapter or connector right here is a little bit wider, and I think it was a little bit like narrower in diameter too versus the Hoover one, so that idea went right out the window. And it's like, you know, I'm glad he printed this out, because I'm gonna need it. But yeah, I think since, you know, I intend to use it with this PowerMax nozzle, why don't we just set this one aside? This is actually for my AF1. It needed new back wheels, and I figured, you know, while I'm ordering parts for the AF2, why don't I just put the wheels on there too, to avoid another, you know, paying more shipping costs down the line. But I'm gonna go put some water in this thing and we'll get to it. Alright, we got the water in it. Now we'll take the stupid cord winder. I hate this thing. It's like I'm not spending $70 on one either. I just can't come up with a good method to fix it. Irritates me. Okay. We have our ambient voltage. So let's turn this thing on. Suction reading. I don't know how good of a... Okay, this ring is impeding it. Alright, we're at the end of the hose here. Nice long hose on it, just like the AF1. Let's power this up. Alright, and I know this isn't the correct wand for it, but then again, they had the wand, but it's like I'm not paying that much for what is essentially a generic extension, and it doesn't even use a holder because the power nozzle plugs right into there. So, let's boot it up. Well, change of plans. I cannot for the life of me find the pigtail cord that I trimmed down, because I have like a small, like 6-inch or smaller one that I cut down to fit into small spaces like this, and I can't find it, so I guess I'm going to have to use the AF1 power head for it. I have no idea where that's at, and I'm not going to keep... Yeah, I'm not super fond of it, to be honest, because it doesn't really have any kind of like grab with that power nozzle. It just, there's no clamping, you know. It's like extremely easy to push across the carpet, and it's not like really sealing to anything, which, you know, for me, it just doesn't feel like it's doing all that it should be doing. I mean, I don't know, it's definitely different, you know. It's just I've come across so many little problems with it. That cord winder one especially. I mean, sure, I was able to replace the cord, but now it doesn't retract. And it's like I've fixed plenty of cord winders in my day, and I can't believe there's such a low tolerance in that thing. So little space considering how big the unit actually is. But it's whatever.